Welcome to everyone. Welcome, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome to our very first virtual session here at Black Salt. Super excited because it's always one of the best ones when you set up for a massive year ahead. And I can't be prouder to have two of these legends come and join us as well, who are really setting the bar and the standard for everyone to follow. And I think their insights today are going to be extraordinary. A big welcome to Mr. Michael McClure, Beauty Before Age. How are you, Michael?
I'm good, mate. I think it's more Hoodie first being A team, me being the B team. I would have thought
Uh,
maybe even the C team.
welcome and congratulations on your presentation at Black Salt last year, Michael. It was talked about and talked about and talked about that authenticity. A huge congratulations. It's never easy going up on stage, especially the first time, but you absolutely nailed it. A big shout out to you. Can we give him a big virtual round of applause because he absolutely smashed it? And
Thank you.
yeah, really well done. And of course, co-hosting today as well is Mr. Joel Hood, the legend himself. How are you, buddy? How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're into it.
And yeah, we're absolutely straight into it. And really good to obviously catch up at the end of the year at the galas and so forth. And you set a benchmark as well for yourself last year. And I know you achieved it. So it's going to be really great to sort of talk about that story and obviously your targets for the next 12 months. If there's anyone that's actually followed process to the nth degree, Joel Hood knows what works. He hasn't tried to reinvent the wheel. He does the absolute basics day in, day out. I think, Joel, you're the one that termed that our job becomes boring and the boring stuff works. And of course, that has helped you build a phenomenal business. So a big welcome and looking forward to obviously today's session. Short and sharp, 45 minutes. We're going to get straight into it. First of all, before I come off screen, I'll just go to the next slide. Just want to thank, of course, our industry partners. So have you seen it? Can you see that, guys? Or we got...
Not yet. No.
Okay, so let me just try something here. All right, perfect. Okay, so now that we've got the technical issues out of the way, these events, guys, and Black Salt Conference couldn't be possible without the support of these industry partners. It's a big shout out. These events take a lot of time, effort, and of course, the Agents Agency is instrumental with all our team. I've even got our videographer here, who's obviously taking. Do you want to say a big hello?
Hello, everyone.
And of course, yeah, so nothing happens without the support of the team behind it, and of course these industry partners. So if you haven't reached out to these industry partners, every single one of them can help you in your business and take it to the next level. And if you've got someone fantastic like Olivia to take your videos, make sure that this year is your year of video as well. But over to the session today. So what we're going to cover off today is, of course, smashing out your goals in 2020. How do you have a cracker 2026? And I've got to get out of here again. Sorry, guys. Let me stop sharing my screen somewhere here. As soon as I find it, all these technical stop sharing. There we go. Okay. Are we good? Are we good now? You can tell it's our first session. We're so rusty on the tech today. So everyone can see the screen. We've got speaker view happening. No?
No, can just see all the individuals.
Oh,
No
the individuals.
slides.
Sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. So George, we can have if we go to speaker view as well. Perfect. Okay. So we'll have speaker view. So today is all about setting up for a massive 2026. And of course, we've got two individuals who are consistently achieving PBs year after year after year. I'll start with you, Michael, if you want to give your 60-second introduction of when you started, obviously what you're doing, what you achieved last year, and then I'll come back to you to say, okay, what have you got planned for this year?
Yeah, so been a bit of a journeyman. I've been in it for 14, going on 15 years. Started when I was 21. Had an assistant since 2016 and probably averaged about 50, 45 to 50 sales per year from 2016 to 2024. So just a long period of time, and then was really working on the balance to have 3 months off holiday per year, still maintaining, good stock levels. And last year in 2025, we wrote 807 after a very late fall over, which was good fun, but 807 with an average sale price of 896. And yeah, that's the 60 seconds.
Oh, fantastic. And that was a personal best for you, Michael?
It was, yeah. Yeah, so I added a third member to the team, Michelle, early last year. And so we went from, 685 up to 807.
Yeah, fantastic. So obviously you're in the same corridor as I am, so we get to talk a bit. So that was your big shift for last year, adding that third person to your team. This is the first time that you've gone from an EBU of 2 to an EBU of 3.
Yeah, correct. Made a massive difference. We had the first 6 months where we went backwards, which I anticipated would be a 3 or 4 month sort of process. Ended up being about 6 months, but that, in hindsight, just set us up really well. That systems went in place, and Michelle's an absolute jet. So it's been really good.
Yeah, love it. And we'll get back to the decision of actually adding on a third person to the team and why. And over to you, Joel. You absolutely had an absolute cracker of a year. Well, you've had a cracker of a journey over the last 3 to 4 years, relocating from Melbourne a few years back, and then obviously starting fresh on the Sunshine Coast. But if you can give your introduction as well, that'll be great.
Yes, obviously Mickey's the balanced version. I'm the unbalanced version. So my year is going to be the year of Mickey. I set some reasonable targets to make sure there's a bit more balance in 2026. But yeah, so obviously started in Melbourne, the Mornington Peninsula, and I work alongside Jared up until 2020. So that was 6-7 years, and made a move to Queensland for family reasons, and a couple of years in corporate with the AA team. But the passion's very much with clients and listing and selling. So it was great working with the team and getting to know them. But obviously, have now sort of grown our own business, and organically it's happened pretty quickly. So we've got 17 team members in the office. We've got 4 in property management. Got a couple of standalone sales agents that have joined us who are brilliant. And then I run an EBU currently with 4 team members. So Jake has just moved back to Vic. We've lost him after a year. He was brilliant. But Richard's taken his spot. And then I've got Sarah, Kristen, and Jade will go out in her own middle of the year as well. So we went $1 million in the first year with 1 team member, and then 2 in the second year with a couple. And then last year the goal was 3, and we wrote 3.6, and I think the office did close to 5. So the standalone agents surpassed their expectations as well, came home really well. And this year my goal is just to do the same, 3.6, but we've booked a lot of holidays, and we're building a family home. So I just, albeit I'm not working as hard as I was in Melbourne, hours-wise, it's still a bit more than what I would like. So it'll be balanced and effective this year.
Yeah, 100%. And a huge congratulations, Joel, because there was obviously a lot of people talk about moving areas and saying, being in a particular area for such a long time, to actually uproot, go to a totally different state, a few different rules, obviously, in listing and selling, but the principles are always the same.
Yes.
And to see you set the target of absolutely starting from a cold start, working from home in your first year, and to crack $1 million from a cold start, not having listed or sold, not joining another office or anything, just totally on your own, is quite exceptional. And of course, you've consistently increased. And I guess the biggest thing that most people would be asking at this point in time is, if I could just ask someone to obviously keep everyone on mute, would be great. The big question to be asking, Joel, is in those 4 years, because you've been in the marketplace now for 4 years, you just cracked your 3.6 million individually, and of course the office and so forth. What has stayed consistent during that time to keep that 4 years on, keep increasing and keep increasing? What do you think are the 3 things?
Oh, three things. Well, I think like the number one thing you have to do is you've got to look at where your leads are going to come from. So like we're all about plan, execute, and review. So you got to plan, and then obviously you go and you execute that plan, and then you review it. And we review weekly now, but obviously you review at the end of the year as well, and then think, okay, what am I going to do next year? So number one, I would say you've got to look at where your lead's going to come from. We know the appraisal number is absolutely critical. So how are you going to get into those doors? And I think for us, it was just a matter of looking at all the different sources, the lead sources, and then saying, okay, well, that's what we're going to stick to. For us, obviously, it was cold calling, letterbox dropping, and trying to run world-class open homes. So 2 agents at every open. And I think the good thing now is we've got a great reputation in the marketplace for doing the right thing. So even though it might feel like you've got the weight against you at the beginning, it's just remembering the longer you're in it and the more the things you do, I suppose not always in your best interest, but in the client's best interest. Sometimes it costs you money, time, it's disappointing, but in the long run, it works well. And I'm finding really positive things in the marketplace for both our PM team and sales. So yeah, I guess the main thing is just to pick those lead fields and then remain consistent with them. And I'm very fortunate. We've got team members in the office that really do manage that for us now, like Caitlin, who basically takes care of all the drops. It's a pretty much full-time job. But yeah, I guess just picking those items and then remaining consistent with them.
It's interesting you talk about drops and so forth, and I'm going to bring out this diary, which is I've got a pink one. Is that I'm colorblind, so that's pink. Yeah. That's my drops diary for this year, and it's incredible. We're at the 22nd of January. Your team, have you done any drops so far in January, Joel?
Yeah, so we've just had them picked up over the course of the last week, but nothing went out before the middle of the month, just with printers and whatnot. But we're a fortnightly cycle, so 26 a year. Then obviously we've got adjust solds on top of that. And we do it for several marketplaces. And as we've grown bigger and we've gone to acreage and things like that, it's clearly gotten more difficult. But every time it gets difficult, I smile because I think, okay, well, it's difficult for our competition. So if we can do it, then it's going to, it's going to be one thing over them. And I know it's going to make a difference. And as soon as they go out, we see a response. But it's just that consistency in the marketplace and wanting to be top of mind with everybody. So, and I guess one other thing, just in terms of the growth as well, with the number of sales, you can only do so many yourself. So catching up with Simon Robbins from the network, hearing what he wrote last year, we sort of were accountability partners last year, had a fantastic year. And talking about him trying to grow beyond that, transactions wise, he was, I think, 35, 36 on his own, pretty much with office support. And I said, that's going to be about your capacity. It's going to get really tough after that. So obviously I've put on team members to make sure I can have holidays, to make sure the clients are serviced correctly, to make sure we can have 2 people at open homes. But that's the byproduct of that is we've done deals, and you've seen the numbers have pretty much been each agent will handle another 30 sales a year. So with us doing 120 deals, the numbers stack up.
Yeah. It's about 30 sales per person per EBU, and depending on your marketplace, the volume of your average commission price of what you can actually achieve dollar-wise and reverse engineer. So let's just talk about, because and going back to the drops, and I think it's really important for us to talk about the drops diary. It's a topic I never talked about at the end of last year because everyone's so sick of me talking about the drops diary and the importance of it. That surely it doesn't work. Well, I can tell you right now, with over 25 agencies that service our area, only 2 agencies have actually dropped in January. And guess what those agencies are? They're number 1 and number 2 in the marketplace. So success leaves clues. And again, in this, people are always looking for the magic bullet, but the basics are the basics. And I remember when you first started, Joel, you absolutely smashed it. Michael McClure, and whilst we're on the topic of drops, we were talking in the lunchroom last week or the week before, actually wrote a blog about it and how the boring stuff works and the drops and the so forth. We talked about an agent that was looking for that magic bullet and goes, what is it? What is it that's creating those successes for you? And he goes, must have been a lot of referrals. It must have been a lot of gimmies from the office and so forth, but it wasn't. It was all that consistency. And I think we worked out that you'd done 500,000 drops in that time, just quickly, but that's how important in 14 years. And Michael, your drops regime, is it twice a month as well?
No, we changed. So we had it as weekly for years, and then it was fortnightly for years, very, very consistent. But over the last couple of years, found that our drops, we're tracking our lead sources, and almost none of them were from drops directly. It was at best you could attribute market presence being, the layering effect of everything, but I'd say maybe one a year from drops. And so we changed last year, and we're continuing it now. Probably for the last maybe 6 or 7 months, we now do a monthly market report that's delivered in an envelope. So it's hand delivered. So we print it in-house. Michelle puts it all together, basically some information on the season, the market, whatever's happening that month, some details on our sales, some reviews from clients, and my stat sheet on, average sale price, how many sales, all that sort of stuff. And then it's stuffed in envelopes in-house, and then our droppers hand deliver them. And as soon as we've changed that, we're consistently getting probably 3 appraisals a month, maybe more, but 3 appraisals a month from doing market reports that are in envelopes versus the mass drops, which my area just gets smashed. So we made a pivot.
Can I just say that is gold? A big shout out to you, Michael, because that is gold. That's absolutely invaluable. I think just that alone from today's session, if people understand, you just got to pivot. When everyone's zigging, you got to be zagging. And I love it. You're an absolute implementer, Michael. At Black Salt last year in December, Lyndall Allen came up with this magnet and a little clip-on that sticks on everyone's fridge and so forth. So you've implemented that. So a few of the other team have as well. So you've added that, and I know people don't look at this as being sexy or anything, huge, but that's another way that you can pivot, and it'll be interesting to see those people who implemented from the Black Salt implementations, what sort of results. But awesome. Okay, and
Yeah.
while we're on it, Michael, what are your plans for? How have you structured for this year? What strategy? What did you pull out of your strategy day? I know you had a strategy day, as does Joel Hood every year. What did you sit down with the team? What have you got planned? And what are the fundamentals that you're doing over the next 12 months?
So very quickly, I just saw that there was a comment asking where those magnets were sourced. Now, I didn't do this. This was an implementation day. We had a conversation about it, but I've got Michelle and Ashley in my team who are both absolute legends, and they organised these. Michelle got it from magnets.com.au, and they were 67 cents each. Now, when it comes though, you get the magnet, but these little you had to stick the clip on directly. So I didn't do that again. The girls did. But just keep that in mind. So 67 cents, it's not all me. Most of it isn't me, to be honest. I'm just the one paying for it. So yeah, so we wrote 807 last year, and so we actually did, when we put on Michelle and went to a team of 3, typically doing in a 6-month period, 300 to 350 over 6 months. We actually did 285, so we went backwards. And the market was picking up, but just, things weren't falling into place. I don't think it was anything direct from us. It wasn't really happening for us. But then in the back 6 months of last year, we wrote 522 in the back 6 months of last year. So it's like, what am I planning to do for this year? It's nothing drastically different to what we did last year, in the sense of that the first 6 months set us up for the back 6 months, and the back 6 months will set us up for the current 6 to come. And so we did 522. So the goal for this year is to write 1.1. We've also, I casually mentioned to the girls, I don't know if it was my idea or if it was Ash's, but she mentioned, if we write $1 million, I have to go to Bali. And I'm like, if we write $1 million this year, I'll take you all to Bali. And then it was like a throwaway comment. And then it's now like on the board, and they've got, the girls are there. They've already packed their bags. They're ready to go. So, the financial year is to do $1 million. So we've just got to do 480 to hit that. And then for the calendar year is to do 1.1, which my average fee last year was 15.5 grand. And so naturally the market's slowly improving. I think it's improved drastically last year, but it'll continue to slowly improve this year. So based on an average fee of 16 grand, that's 69 sales. And then we've got a list to sale ratio of around 95%. So we've got to pick up 73 listings. So around 6 listings a month. It breaks down to that, and which is around 17 appraisals a month.
Fantastic. So your appraisal to list ratio is about 3 to 1. So
yeah, 36%.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And I think that's a key number that everyone needs to know. So let's reverse engineer it a little bit further to get to those 17 appraisals one of the things you mentioned earlier that you absolutely track your lead sources. Where are your leads coming from? Because it's the beginning and the end. And guys, if people are not using the hustle playbook, right? Are you a fan of the hustle playbook, Michael?
That's what I'm going to right now, mate.
Yeah, fantastic.
So
Yep.
my lead sources, yeah. So I haven't tracked, poor form by me, but I haven't tracked my last year's stats. I've got all the, every single lead source, but haven't calculated them to be exactly what it was for last year. But the year prior, it was 60% of my business is repeat referrals. So either past buyers, past vendors, or referrals. And the numbers will be very, very similar. I do have little windows where we do price drive letter runs twice a year. Sometimes they fall flat in their face and get absolutely nothing. And then other times we'll get, 15 appraisals from 2,500 drops. So, but a lot of past buyers. It's a huge amount of past buyers and
Who have actually transacted
market
with you,
presence.
Michael? Yeah. So is that who have actually
Correct.
transacted with you?
The vast majority have transacted.
Yep.
The vast
Okay.
majority. So, and that comes back to, I think, like my follow-up is okay. We do our newsletter, we do anniversary cards. Often they live in areas that get their drops. I'll add the majority of my buyers and my vendors on Facebook. But I am not too flash at keeping in touch with my clients from a phone call point of view. I'm really not. What I do is I have systems that are set in place that we do those anniversary cards and they get those letters, and it's passive through being mates on Facebook or Instagram. And then by being prominent in the area, often they'll call you back in. And the biggest part of that is naturally a buyer having a great experience when they purchase in the first place, and that lasts a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be the biggest part.
Yeah, and Michael, I think a lot of people totally underestimate the sold to settlement process, not only from a vendor's point of view, as in their actual client that pays them, but they're forgetting about the value of the customer journey, as in the buyer journey from sold to settlement. You nail that, and you do your first weekend at your new home call, the week after settlement, and so forth. You're going to be memorable. And everyone knows that I always say, let mathematics be your business manager. And if you look at the maths, if you look at the statistics on all the listings that have come on in your marketplace, say the last 10, 20, 30, 40 listings, I can almost guarantee you the percentage of agents that actually relist the property that the seller's using the agent that they bought off is, in most cases, it's only 15%. So 1 in 6 is getting a memorable experience so that they're using that agent again. And of course, we have a big turnover of agents in our industry. An agent might be here this year, but in 5 years' time, they're gone. So, they're what we call orphan data. Those vendors are looking for an agent to connect with. So that's why important. Do you actually do any marketing to buyers in your marketplace that didn't buy off you, Michael? I'll ask the same question to you, Joel. Do you
No,
track that at all?
not directly, as in, they get
Yeah.
everything else, but no different to their neighbor that hasn't purchased recently.
Okay, so from the fundamentals that you're doing this year, I noticed at the end of last year and bringing Michelle on, you started doing your social media market reports, and you do it at the end of the year. And I think this is absolutely invaluable. And Michael, you're not using a professional crew. You've got a set format. It's rinse and repeat, for lack of a better expression. How are you finding that?
Yeah, so I think I noticed a few years ago there was an agent that worked in Mount Eliza, who was not the number one agent, but he started doing a monthly market report, and he was getting it professionally done, having a videographer and going to the local footy oval and whatever, and having a bit of a spiel. But in conjunction, I'm sure, with a shitload of work and a lot of effort, it was one of the things that I noticed as being that catapulted his career, and he was number one agent at Mount Eliza for quite a long time until he's still well and truly up there, but he's had his anyway, regardless, he's doing his thing. But that was something that I wanted to do, and I had it on my list probably for 3 or 4 years in a row, saying at the start of Jan, I'm going to do these market report videos, and I didn't do it single time, not once. Always wanting it to be perfect, and I've got to tee up my videographer to go and do it, and it was the effort to get it sorted. And it was also sourcing the stats. You can go through, REA stats and they'll tell you how much a market's moved in a single month, but it's all delayed. It's not up to date. It's not accurate information. And so that was another, roadblock for me was, well, I've got to work out how I'm going to get these figures. And so I made a commitment that I was going to do it and it didn't have to be perfect. And I was going to try and shoot it at home just on my phone. And once I sourced the stats, which I do just on a monthly basis, and my formula, if anyone wants it, I can give you the heads up. But basically, it's working out how much the market has changed from month to month, and then have a rolling 12 months. So last year it was basically every single video. If anyone hasn't seen them before, it's me telling them the 5 core suburbs that we work in, how much the market improved over the course of the year. So it's up 20%, 21%, whatever it is, on a monthly basis. And I'm just working out median house price from what it was at the start of the year. So it was at 760, it's now 830,000, and that, percentage increase. And now it takes me, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes to source those stats each month. And then the video I'm shooting at home on my phone in cinematic settings, a couple of little minor things. I then give it to Ash, who's an absolute jet. She's a bit of a wizard, and she puts the video together. And I get feedback from people that have asked me, saying, "Oh, the videos are great" and whatever. And then I'll say it's just my phone, and then "Oh no, I thought it was professionally done." So it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough.
Yeah, and the consistency of it, Michael.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah, so you led that at the end of the year. It'll be interesting. Obviously, you'll continue it this year, and it'll be interesting to sort of see the traction you'll get later on in the year, because it does take time. These compound over time. It just doesn't. Most people do a video and they go, "I didn't get anything, didn't get any comments," and so forth, so they give up on it too early. So well done.
Yeah, and we spent about $300 as well on a boost. So marketing that video, we spent about $300 on Meta.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good investment, really worthwhile, especially when you're on target to do 1.1 million. And we'll go back to your budgets in regards to how much you're spending on marketing. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions. And if people do have questions, put it in the chat box, and I'll let Arthur to have a look, and then obviously let us know, if there's any questions to ask the team. But over to you, Joel. Anything different, or what are you following through from last year to obviously smash it out in 2026?
So this year, bring on a coach. So I get along really well with Tom Panos. We've never really done anything together, so I reached out, and so he's doing coaching one-on-one this year. And that was probably more as a business owner, just making sure that just having, I suppose, his sort of 2 cents when it came to team members in the office and helping them on their path as well. I don't know. It's probably not going to be too much. It changes. We've swapped around offices. We've looked at what didn't work last year. We're trying to eradicate distractions within the space.
Well, that's an important one. What did you uncover? What didn't work? What did you think was the big distractions?
It's probably, if I was to look at my time in Victoria and how regimented I was with prospecting, and probably how disrupted it got here. We have a brilliant culture within the office, but we probably aren't making the number of calls. And now we're doing weekly KPIs and a WhatsApp group that we've got to send to Tom, and we're all looking at it at the same time. It's just a bit of an eye-opener around, I suppose, what's possible and what we're actually doing. And just chunking sessions. I'm pretty excited because I think we've done exceptionally well with great systems and processes, but we may not have been as productive as what we really could be. And that comes from just enjoying the people that we work with. So, looking at the office setup, myself and Caitlin would be in the same office. She's head administrator and basically the office manager. People come speak to her, it distracts me, and vice versa. So now I'm in my own space. The administrators are together, and we've got the sales agents in their own. They all have their own closed offices anyway, but just trying to be a bit more separated, a bit more regimented, booking those prospecting calls as appointments, and just, I think, making sure that we're a bit more organized this year, because the second half of last year, like Mickey, he did 500,000, which was 2/3 of his total. We did 2.2 in the last 6 months. So that was an extremely busy time. And just making sure if it does crop up again, that we obviously can remain consistent with everything that we're supposed to be doing. And the same thing, I was doing monthly market wraps. It was tucked into the back of any video that I was doing for a property. So that's probably one tip. I do a property video for every single property. I don't have an issue with owners. They will sometimes argue the point of whether the value is there. I go through the reasons why I think the value is there, and they pay for it, and we move forward, and we believe it gives us a genuine leverage.
Joel, can we talk about that? What's the conversation with a vendor who is resistant to doing a promotional video?
Yeah, because it's about $600 for the property, and it's usually 90 seconds, and it's edited. Obviously, it's part of the photography that we do as well. But I am a genuine believer in it and it's just a byproduct that obviously it puts me into the marketplace as well. But for me personally, I explain to owners, real estate agents aren't overly well liked, and the buyer's going to come to your home, and we're going to ask them for their name and number. It's going to be a really confronting time for them, where they walk into the house and their heart's beating, and some stranger they don't like asks for the details. If they've watched the video before they came, and they've watched it a couple of times, and I'm not a wanker showing up in a Porsche, I'm just talking about the 3 probably benefits of this particular property, they're probably going to be a little more comfortable. Their guard's going to come down. They're going to focus on your home. So that's one point. And I also just speak about the fact that in the Sunshine Coast here, how many people we do attract from interstate and overseas, and they're looking for content everywhere. And the photos are great, but with a video, they can slow it down, speed it up. They can actually get a genuine sense of the space. And given the marketing spend for us in our marketplace is about $6,000, it's a small percentage of what they put forward. And I genuinely don't get that objection after we discuss it, because they say, okay, that does make sense to me. But I'll then tack on the monthly market wrap at the end of that twilight shoot or that video, and then it'll be edited for me, sent back the next day. Because we have 240 landlords, that's the nurturing. Mickey speaks about difficulty of staying in touch with people. Well, to me, that's the perfect way to do it. If you're sending out a monthly video to everyone, you're giving them genuine information, you're being seen. That's a really good touch point rather than having to call them. Tom gave me a tip. One thing, I suppose, for everyone, I was explaining to him, he said, how do you lose business? And I said, well, the ones I can't stay in touch with. And I don't get angry when they go on, because it's my fault. And he said, okay, so if they're going to list now, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you generally get it. And I said, yeah, my strike rates are very high because we connect quite well. But if they're like a 6, 8, 12 week sort of process, you fall over because you're just constantly in the moment. I said, yes, I am. So he said, well, let's just put together 10 really basic texts, generic ones, that you can fire off to people that are going to be in your pipeline for, say, 6 months. And when you come up, in the morning, because I'm all about calls. I'm not a big texter, emails. I like to be face-to-face, and I like to call people. But in this situation, we thought, okay, well, let's just start texting people in the morning between, say, 7:30 and 8, because I'll get into the office at 7:30. Sunny Coast people are up early, probably a bit early for a call prior to 8, 8:15, unless they're a vendor. But for potential vendors, I can fire off a text for the start of their day. And I can tell you, it has been a fantastic response, because I get pretty much a response from everyone. I'm just doing 10 in the morning from 7:30 till 8, and they're done in 2 minutes. I won't get a response all at once, but they will come back through the course of the day. And thanks for staying in touch, Joel. We're still thinking of you. Nothing's changed. But if you're looking for a way to maybe just leverage some more touch points during the day, making it automated, and obviously I'm not thinking. I come in, it's a generic what I'm seeing in the market in the last 30 days. I know you've still got some time to think what you need to do, but if you need a hand, I'm here. It's been a really good response. So that was a good tip.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Joel, are you referencing your hustle playbook to do those SMSs? So you look at your hustle playbook and say, well, that's someone 5 weeks ago, hasn't come onto the market, and then you quickly do an SMS and personalize that SMS to that person.
Yeah, I'll just quickly share as well. So our business planning is about 40 pages. So we did that at the end of last year. I stole it from Tom Hector about 3 years ago, and we just sort of added to it. It's got everyone's KPIs and the whole team, so there's no surprises. Richard comes on, mate, here's your full page, and he can see everything that's in here. We talk about our training for the year, all of our lead sources for last year. So in terms of our appraisal lead sources last year, just quickly share. So we did 363. And when I say we, I'm talking about my team.
As in your director's EBU?
My EBU.
Your director's EBU? Yeah, great.
I'll be there for 90 to 95% of them. The other 5 to 10%, it's a cold one or someone else has a relationship. I just can't physically make it. It's important they go, or I'm on a holiday. So for us, drops were 13%. OFIs were 15%. Market presence now is 25%. So the first year that didn't exist naturally. And database and past clients, 17%. referrals 16%. So we're pretty consistent with those 5 making, and then there's a lot of like 1 and 2%ers here and there. We don't use referral websites. So that's the referrals are genuinely, people in the marketplace. And then in regards to the hustle playbook, yes, it's brilliant. It has gotten, I'm still working through last year's. So basically I've highlighted green if I listed it, red if I lost it, and then blue if it sold. And there's already been leads in there. I'm like just reviewing. It really isn't that difficult, is it? For me now, because of the size of the database, the size of the volume we're doing, the number of sellers that I'm working with, we just tagged the pipeline tag, and each member of the office has it. It's got to be really tight. There are people that are selling in 3 to 6 months. We have a team member in the office who removes that tag if they don't get contacted within 4 months. So we keep things clean. And so that they're the people that I have. Lauren from front desk, she prints off that pipeline list every Monday on my desk, and then I work through texting the people that I think I need to speak to, that I haven't obviously spoken to for a little while.
Yeah, fantastic. And I want to go back to the appraisals. I know it's a small percentage, but the appraisals that you don't attend, because I always talk about the director's EBU and the evolution of obviously how appraisals are going to be done by lead agents, and I always reference the director's EBU. So Joel, those ones that you didn't attend, and it was one of your team members that attend, because I really want people to start doing that, especially for the colder ones, and to really edify the lead agent and say, yeah, Joel's busy and so forth, but we're going to come and do a prep work and so forth. Have they been successful? How are you finding that? Team members.
The best thing I could do for my team last year was go to Fiji for a week and a half, because they are highly capable individuals. And you know what happens when the boss goes, they have to think for themselves and they have to do it themselves. And so they are highly capable of doing it, but they had to do it. They learned that they can do it. And I came back, and I guarantee that's why the second half of our year we smashed it, because they just took on the activities themselves. They called vendors direct. Tom did remind me I'm a bit of a control freak. He's like, you've got to release that a bit more. So I'm getting better at it. But that was really good for both of us to sort of learn that they have I genuinely believe they're better than a lot of the lead agents in the area. They just need that confidence to do it. So no, they've been extremely effective. Someone like Jade in the office does not need me to go. And she's been able to list her own properties. And even though she's under my team still, they gravitate towards her. I'm basically there for, I suppose, some things she hasn't experienced yet. That's it.
Look, I love the evolution of where the EBU is going. I really do. And that's why I'm titling it Director's EBU. We've been talking about it the last couple of years. And I think it's not an expectation of the lead agent or us in the industry. It's actually an expectation from the consumer. We've always got to think consumer first. And when we think consumer first, we start putting the actions in place to make sure we deliver a better service. So building a team, empowering a team is not always about just doing extra GCI. It's actually about delivering a better service, a better memorable service, so that, just like Michael mentioned earlier, you just don't have to make that many connections with them all the time to stay memorable. You delivered great work. That's going to pay dividends, whether you've connected with them or not, or had an engagement strategy. That's why I'm just so big on love the one you're with, and just go over and above. That's awesome. Well done, Joel. Something that we don't know, Joel, that a question I haven't asked you that you feel that the team should be aware of for the next 12 months.
How do you mean in terms of what we do?
Well, is there anything that you're doing that the SMS is fantastic? So that's something else that you've implemented. Is there anything else that you're going to do differently, or it's just going to be pretty much rinse and repeat?
Yeah, rinse and repeat. I wish I could give people more information. I mean, if you came into our office or you spoke to the team or Caitlin, there's probably lots of small things that we do that team members don't quite realize. And I guess for us, we've just built processes in 2022 when we started, and then we've added 1% every month, and we've just sort of compounded from there. And we're just really looking at, I suppose, the one thing I'd recommend anyone is just like look at what's genuinely not working in your office, in your space. What can you improve on and what needs to be done? Do you need to hire someone? Do you need to fire someone? We've got a VA that cleans our data. She goes every month and just makes sure any properties you spoke before about, do you stay in touch with buyers that purchase in your area? A lot of them we would have met. We may not have found out they purchased, but when the property settles, our VA will actually put them in as a potential vendor and clean the data, remove the old client. So even though we have no sort of past history with them, we can remain in touch. There's nothing that I would say we're doing differently this year. I think it's more, I set some pretty basic goals, personal goals, and I've looked and said, okay, well, how do I achieve that? And then I've just put systems in place to make sure that happens this year. Because I want 2026. Last year was brilliant. It was great for everyone, but from a business standpoint, from a personal standpoint, I think I can improve things. So this year, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and I love the implementation. Obviously, having Tom Panos on board as a coach and accountability buddy, not only to yourself, but obviously to the extended team. Because sometimes, as a leader of a business and so forth, your team needs someone external to actually be accountable to. Not directly to the leader. I think that's a fantastic implementation. For yourself, Michael, and then we'll just do a Q&A. If anyone's got any questions, we'll do a Q&A as well. Any last thoughts for the balance of the year, Michael, that you want to share, or we'll just go straight to some Q&A?
Probably the Q&A, because it's very similar to what Joel said. We're doing what's already been done before because it's consistent and it works. And we had the review last year on the drops, and we changed that to direct mail, not direct mail, sorry, enveloped market report monthly, hand delivered. But that made a massive impact. The monthly market report videos are very simple to do. I dropped a link in the chat before on what we're doing, but just to reiterate, that is shot just in cinematic mode on my iPhone. My wife's got, a tripod set up for her business, and so I just whack that on, and I have just a standard format. And I don't think you need to change it and be ultra creative. Just being consistent, I think, makes a massive impact. We did the magnets as little lips, but otherwise, it's doing a lot of the same.
I know, boring work.
And one thing you just touched on before, Manos, you were saying about like the sold to settlement strategy. So I do my calls, the vast majority of the time, the week after things settle. But realistically, from when someone lists with me, I sign them up. They don't really hear from me, and I don't hear from them until it's on the market, because I have Michelle and Ash that get everything sorted to get it online. When it's on the market, I'm doing the best work I possibly can. And then when I sell it, they don't really hear from me again until settlement day, because Ash takes care of everything. And so you talk about, well, letting go of something that I had lots of control of was, I'd have to work the numbers out. But my biggest lead source last year, out of my last 17, so I've listed 17 in the last 20, as in we lost 3 and I've listed 17. So I had like a really good success ratio, but the biggest lead source from those 17 were past buyers. And I haven't checked out which ones that I did that sold to settlement process and how many are more recent that Ash would have done. But certainly by Ash taking over it and me relinquishing that control hasn't even in the slightest affected my business in a negative. If anything, it's probably more positive. So it doesn't need to be you. If you've got a team member, you can let shit go. If you've got great people, they will do it. And the clients are just as appreciative.
Yeah. And I guess, and that's in the business planning. And Joel, you shared the business planning booklet that you R&D'd from Tom Hector. It'll be great to sort of see if we can get Hector, Hood, and Harris up on stage at Black Salt at the end of this year. And we'll throw in Michael as well, of course, to see how your progress is. But it's really interesting that you R&D'd someone else's business plan, but the business plan also has standards. So if you've got a team and say our standard is we are going to call these people the week after settlement, the this, the that, you just do what you need to do and set the standards. So no, really well done. Okay, let's talk about questions over to the group for questions.
If they're going to put in the chat while we're waiting, I was going to say just one tip as well. I'm assuming and I'm hoping everyone has an accountability buddy. For me, it's Fridays, and I do it with Adrian and Vic. I do it with Simon. So I copy and paste the text, and obviously then just have a bit of a personal chat about how they're going. But it's really good because it's Simon's wanting to write 500-600 a year, Adrian's wanting to write 1,314, I'm wanting to write 3,600. Like, it's not about linking up with someone that wants to write the same. I put my number of appraisals and the targets in bracket, and obviously them the same. So you're seeing how they're tracking for their month, and it's really, there's weeks where you're going, I don't want to send this to them. And then there's other weeks where you're like, I'm like going to beat my chest. It gets out at 3 p.m. rather than 8 p.m. So the best thing about it is it's a real just reminder to stay on track. So I'd say hopefully everyone's doing it. If you're not doing it, because it's something I've only probably done for the last 12 months off the other guys asking me to, but it's probably one of the best things because it keeps you on track. So pick someone after this, and make it a Friday afternoon activity. And it's just appraisals, listings, sales, and GCI. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And I called it last week, this week. My recommendation, and again, there's no right or wrong. It's what works for you, whether you do it at the end of the week. I always say at the beginning on the Monday before 9 a.m., send last week's appraisals, this week's appraisals, if you want to add the listings and so forth to your accountability buddy, because it's either going to motivate you because you did lots, or it's going to kick you in the ass and say, shit, I better get into the office and actually do something today. Last week, this week. And again, what works for you? I'm a big fan of everyone's got systems and everyone's got campaign timelines, and we're going to be sharing that. And if you've gone through the Hustle Playbook, the sales agent framework, and if you haven't, I think that's been your biggest mistake, right? And it should be your first implementation, right? Line by line, not because I wrote it, but because the content there is amassed from so many other people. There's something missed. A simple implementation I did last year was, I've been preaching about it, is changing a voicemail on a daily basis. That has really helped me manage my day. So just a simple thing like that. I'm not sure if there's any questions, but I will ask one question. AI. Is AI on your horizon? Are you doing anything with AI at the moment? Because that has been the talk for the last 12 months and 24 months. Has AI helped your business in any way?
Personally, nothing really for us that I could say other than Rita. And Rita is used by our cold callers to ensure they don't ring someone that we're already working with or that we've spoken to in the last 3 months. And obviously building call lists for our current team, of which we've got to catch up with Rita next Tuesday to make sure that we're building effective call lists. Because again, going through our KPIs, realizing, okay, why are we not making the calls each day we should? Some of it's come down to who should I be speaking to, and let's make it really simple. So that's all. I mean, a lot of voice to text, a lot of dictation for CRM, emails, things like that. Haven't gone much further beyond it. I think they say, yes, you should be on the forefront, but personally with tech and how busy we are, I guess I'm not necessarily open to being the guinea pig. I think given the basics are working for us, if there's something that can speed things up, fantastic. But I'll be honest, in the early days of Reader, it actually corrupted our data because it sent back the wrong information to the CRM. It changed tags.
Yeah.
So I think it's just balancing it out. But that's all we're really using at the moment. Mickey, what are you doing?
Not a great deal, mate. A bit of the same. Anytime things come in that Manos gets excited about, we've got this new system, new program. I am so happy for other people to go for it and try it. And I find personally, it bogs me down. If I stick to what I know works and I'm super consistent with it, if there are things that are clearly working, then I'm more than happy to jump on board. The girls, I don't think they use a great deal of it, maybe a little bit, but not as in the girls in my team. It's not something that we rely on. Personally, when I've used ChatGPT, it's more just a refining some information. If I was going to put something out and I wanted to be slightly tweaked, I would, but I would, that might be once a fortnight. It's not something that I rely on at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I still don't think that AI has gone into the space of enhancing the client experience at this point in time. I don't see any tools that's going to enhance the client experience. I think the only thing that AI is doing for agents right now, it's actually speeding up. E.g., set out my business plan for 2026. Just go to AI Coach on Black Salt. Everyone's got access to that now. If you haven't, go to the website. Download it. It's complimentary. Everyone can get it, and just say, build out my business plan. It'll give you some prompts to put in some basics in there, and it'll tell you exactly what to do, all your lead sources, everything. So it is a unique tool. I'm out of a job, as I said. There's no more Excel spreadsheets, no more workbooks. One of the questions I saw pop up was, do you do weekly or fortnightly vendor reports to your vendors? How do they look like?
Mickey?
My average days on market with 95% of my properties would be about 9 days. So in slower markets, I will do, in the past, we've done vendor reports. We don't at the moment. There's just too much communication already going on with the volume of buyers and the amount of feedback and the amount of offers to do a report is it's not necessary at the moment for us, but certainly with certain vendors, certain properties, more than happy to do it. But no, I don't. Sorry, Steve, I haven't got a set format. We had done our reports through Vault. So if you are looking for a market report, a vendor report, you can do that through Vault if that's your CRM. And it gives you a couple of different options in how you can format that as well. But that's when we have done it. That's what we use.
Yeah, so we do ours every week for every property. We do open most properties though, so there'll only be a handful that maybe not on doing that and open that week, and vendor can't have it, or we've just given it a rest for one weekend. But I'll have someone in charge in the office, and she needs to be, because of the number that have to go out, 15, 20 of them a week, or sometimes up to that number. Some we're under contract, so we don't have to go that hard. But I find even though, so our average days on market's 28, the high-end stuff, the 2 to 3 million, can be 90 plus days. And then the median price around the 1 to 1.3 could be gone in a couple of weeks. Even though it's gone in a couple of weeks, a lot of our owners are interstate, overseas, or not in touch with the market, and they can be unrealistic. So a good example is offers over 1.3 for a property where when we appraised the home, he was really excited. And then we've had big numbers through the property, and they're over in New Zealand, and they've got now an inflated idea of what the property should be at. So Sarah from the team did a brilliant job to negotiate multiple parties up to 1,356,000, but it took the vendor report where there was 40 groups for the property over the last 2 weeks of multiple people saying 125 to 1.3 based on particular reasons, for them to understand that those 2 to 3 people were the ones to work with. So even though the property was hot and we had interest, it kept the vendors' expectations in check, to make sure that they didn't make a mistake, let that opportunity go, and then undersell it down the line. So the thing with the vendor reports though, is it's got to be I just think it's really important to give feedback around whether the person's interested, and then where they saw value. It's so critical. And then why they saw value there. Like, did they look at other properties close by to arrive at that figure? I'm okay with telling sellers when they need to make a reduction or a change, but a lot of people have difficulty in tough conversations. The vendor report will do the work for you. You can put they saw value at 1.7 when the ask price is at 2. And if there's multiple people that say that, and the owner calls you and says, what's this feedback around this sort of price? You're already halfway there, and you can say, well, unfortunately, that's where the market currently is. You don't have to lead in yourself. So I think they're really critical. I just think they're hard to do consistently. You get to a Wednesday and your week's running away. So you do need to put someone in charge of doing it if there's volume. And I think it's a non-dollar productive activity to a degree. So if you are doing it as a sales agent, do it outside of hours. And it goes with everything you're doing. If anything you're doing today is not productive, not dollar productive for yourself, you really should be employing someone else, or you should be doing outside of the 9 to 5 to make up for it.
Yeah. And what is your what do you actually, if you looked at your week, what's 80% of your time focused on, do you think?
So it's been great with my KPI sheet. So everyone knows, I just have, and I use this in Vic, and I just sort of tweaked it. So I've got my targets at the top for the year. It's obviously my GCI for the year, GCI for the month, appraisals at listings and sales for the month, and how I'm tracking with those. So as it goes on, at the moment, we're 11 out of 11 listings. So I'm on my listing target, but sales is only 5 out of 11. So we've got to catch up. And that's just, I know it because I wrote it this morning. And I've then got my buyers called and reached, potential vendors, past clients and landlords called and reached, current vendors called and reached, and then other being some people that I call might be a sphere of influence, referrals, things like that, but not directly looking to sell. Looking at the numbers this year, I would speak to my owners that they're 50% of my calls, and it could be calling them 3, 4, 5 times a day because we're mid-negotiation, we're doing a price change, I'm giving feedback. So me personally, most of my time is working with my current sellers and future sellers, and I will handle a small group of buyers that are hot and I'm currently negotiating with. So for me, the lion's share, 80% of the time, is in an appraisal, in a buyer appointment, calling my current owners, calling future owners, and then helping out my team. So everything else, the one thing some people say I shouldn't do, which I choose to do still, is all my CMAs for my appraisals. I find it to be really good for market research. I'd say my product knowledge is the best in the marketplace by a country mile. I can literally quote any property. I struggle with people's names. I see them. They could be a vendor. I forget their name in the street. But the property where they live, I know it inside and out. Where's the toilet? What's the age of it? Everything. So for me, that's really good research to go into the lounge room. So I still choose to do that. Everything else, I get rid of it. I just look and I say it's not something, and it's not my skill set. If I touch something Caitlin should be doing, she gets angry with me because I stuff it up. So
that's awesome. Team, we're coming to the end of the hour. I just want to finish off on just a couple of slides and to thank our industry partners again. But before we, one final question. I think that was the last question. I think we'll leave it at that because of the time. Are you using Realtair for proposals? Yeah. So yes from Joel, and Michael is a no. So
No.
Okay, cool. What are you using for proposals, Michael?
I have a document that I just amend each time, and then I send it with I've got a preformed email. So basically it's a report that says the price, the marketing costs, the commission. And then the email I send is basically it's a structured email saying, giving it an overview. It'd be very similar to what Realtair is, I'm sure, but a lot of it is giving links to, the rankings in Frankston in terms of average sale price and things that I want to point to. So, you always will say that numbers never lie. It's not about lying, but you can pick and choose the numbers that suit your narrative the best. If you've got the shortest days on market, that's what you push. If you're selling the volume, you say you're selling the highest volume. If you've got the best average sale price, that's what it is, and whatever it is. So I've got a format that I stick to that I'll send out as a proposal, which would be probably, if I'm not listing it on the spot, which would be the majority. If I'm not listing it on the spot, then I'll send that straight away. But yeah, that's often the case.
Awesome. Well done. Can we give them a big shout out to Joel and to Michael team? Absolutely invaluable. I hope everyone got some great value out of it. And yeah, it'll be really like at the end of last year, we asked a whole bunch of people to set their intention at Black Salt, and I'm hoping everyone had done that. So you can actually get up on stage at next year's Black Salt, in December's Black Salt. We've got some huge things planned already for it, so we're pretty excited about it. But let's finish up on the last couple of slides. And once again, thank you, Joel, and thank you, Michael. Absolutely invaluable. Okay, so what we've learned is this. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so what we've actually learned today, I think, can be really summarized in these 6 points. Reverse engineer your 2025 results, right? I think that's the most important. And when we heard that from Michael and from Joel, especially the lead sources. Define your next PB, personal and business. And again, we heard it from both, especially from Joel in regards to this year, who wants more balance in his work. He's not looking at increasing his 3.6, that's 300,000 GCI per month. He's looking at can he work more effectively and getting that balance, of course, with all his personal building his new home. Identify the needle movers. I think you've got to have relentless focus on the non-negotiables. And I think Joel really summarized that, guys, right at the end, what he actually does. And if you can just strip away all the noise outside of your high value work and then start outsourcing it to team members, or at least setting up for the team member that you're going to put on, I think that's huge. Have an accountability partner. I think that was absolutely gold, and really great to hear that Tom's on your team as well this year in that role. A discipline over a willpower. So important. Measure weekly on track, off track. We talked about that as well in regards to end of week accountability, or at the beginning of the week, last week, this week, appraisal numbers. And again, whilst we didn't touch too much on the mathematics, let mathematics be your business manager. So when we're setting up for a massive 2026, it is all about the mathematics, knowing your numbers and knowing what activities actually create the results for you. Okay, it's not the goal, it's actually the activity. And become the agent that needs to do the activities rather than focusing on the goal, which is one of our blogs last week. I won't go through this one. My goal in 2026, we've gone through that too many times. It is the risk of inaction. Don't be this time next year in January, in January 27, thinking, shit, I wish I had started. Be the person this time next year that thanks the person who made the commitment today. Last one, a bit of a plug for us, team. Live It Up Black Salt Wellness Conference. That is on 8th to 12th of June. Love to see. We've got about 50, 55 people already attending, plus families, so there's going to be over 100. I think Arthur, Maria, we're already organising the big barbecue at our place in Crete. Really focus, if you can make it, guys, highly recommend it. We're not there to learn how to list and sell real estate, but we're learning how to get work-life balance, health, get our mindset. Really proud to say that Costa and Ebony, our youngest, and his partner will be hosting a lot of it, and they'll be doing a lot of work around the well-being space. And it's just be a great day. 1-day conference, and then there's four days of networking, visiting our beautiful island of Crete. Gorgeous beaches. It's our 4th time we're doing it. Maria, anything to say about it?
You've said it all, honey. No, we're super excited. Yes, Costa and Ebony are super involved this year. So every time someone registers, as many of you have, and you already know, there's a private group that we've got, and we keep you updated with everything that's happening. What I wanted to add is that we will have different activities on different days. So if you wanted to take it easy and just have a look, I don't know, lounge by the pool or go to a sensational beach, we can do that. And then we'll have the option of hiking and gorge 25 kilometers and a bit more difficult stuff. And then also tours around the Hanya town and a bit more history around the town as well. So you'll be able to choose your medicine, in the days to come after the conference. So I've got something.
Arthur, what have you got planned for those 5 days?
Yeah, I'm organising some rock climbing and some gorge walks and stuff like that,
You're going
Manos.
to do the gorge.
Yes, I am. So
you're doing the gorge with me. You are.
Yeah, that's
promised. It. Yes.
Thank you, guys. Great session, Joel. Can I say, as always, you're spot on. Manos says it best. You do the basics really well. Mickey, for you, my only tip: try it for a day, buddy. That's it.
For a day.
And again, for everyone that's attended today, thank you so much
Thank you.
for obviously coming on board. To our team behind the scenes that set this up, George, Olivia, the whole crew, our graphics team, Delaney, obviously the promotion behind it. Again, big shout out to our industry partners. Can't be done without them. And the next 10 sessions of these virtual sessions, we're doing them on a monthly basis, 3rd Thursday of every month. There might be 1 or 2 changes, especially around the Live It Up conference. For all the full resources, team, the AI coach, the past recordings have all been uploaded to YouTube now, and all future events, go straight to blacksalt.au, go to the website. They're all there, accessible for everyone. Those resources, you can download the workbooks if you haven't got them, have them PDF, have them printed, and everything else that's happening. Love your feedback on it as well. Send me an email, SMS me, get in contact, anything I can help you with, please do so. Let's stop share.
Great session today.
Yeah, enormous.
Thank you both.
Session. Again, Michael, Joel, I know how busy you guys always are, and really, really appreciate your time that you give up to these sessions to share your insights. And I hope it's been of value to everyone. Once again, team, let's all smash it out in 2026. I think it's going to be a huge year if we make it a huge year. Okay, so it's all up to us. So thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
See you next time. Be good.